Oppositional defiance is one of the hardest and most often heartbreaking of ADHD symptoms. I'm going to provide you with 2 important do's and 2 important don'ts so that you will be able to respond to your teen's oppositional defiance when it rears its head. I'm Annie Adjen. I work with teens and college students, and I'm a certified ADHD coach. I also work very closely with parents and provide you this content to make sure you get the essential tools, knowledge, guidance, and support to effectively parent your neurodivergent adolescent through high school, college, and on into adulthood. So part of what makes ADHD so costly to the healthcare system and so personally devastating to parents and families is that it brings with it so many coexisting conditions. Most parents already know that teens with ADHD are much more susceptible to depression and anxiety. But did you know that your teen is also likely to struggle with any one or many of these following disorders? Sleep disorder, conduct disorder, substance use disorders, tic disorder, mood disorders, obsessive-compulsive disorder, eating disorders. I mean, how many disorders can one child endure? Well, there is one more, and it tends to be the disorder that's the most crushing for parents, and it's oppositional defiant disorder. Oppositional defiance looks like anger or irritability, being argumentative, sometimes even vindictive or manipulative. It can be characterized by getting easily annoyed or easily irritated by other people or feeling resentful toward others. Some teens with OD may be evasive, or they might refuse to comply with rules or requests from parents or other authority figures, and they tend to blame others for their own mistakes. Now, most teenagers getting treated for ADHD don't develop the full-blown disorder of oppositional defiance as their primary condition, but almost all will display oppositional-like behaviors at some point through adolescence. So we refer to those behaviors with the abbreviation of OD, oppositional defiance. Right off the bat, I'm going to give you 2 important things to do and 2 things not to do when parenting oppositional defiance. The first don't isolate yourself. You need to connect with others, especially those who have already walked a mile in your shoes. You can always check out the local chapter of CHAD, Children and Adults with Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, in your area. Another great organization is ADDA, and these are nationwide nonprofit organizations that provide education, advocacy, and tons of support for individuals with ADHD and their families. There are certified coaches like me who can immediately help you deploy tools and tactics shown to work for tough teens with behavioral issues that can be really challenging. And learning from others' experiences and gaining professional guidance can be so incredibly beneficial. So step into communities that can help you, and don't take this challenge on alone. Certainly don't isolate yourselves. The second don't is don't be inconsistent in your parenting. Failing to clearly establish expectations and apply consequences will confuse your teenager and undermine your parental authority. You want to follow a consistent routine and always set really clear rules in order to reduce that uncertainty, and that will reduce conflict. Make sure expectations are crystal clear and make them realistic so that your teenager understands them. And parents who don't create structure or clear guidelines at home, they often end up delivering more harsh consequences and punishments. And being a punitive parent will only increase resentment and make this oppositional defiance way worse. Now, here are the 2 do's for parenting OD. Do be imperturbable. To err is human, so you're not always going to get this right. But you are the adult. Assume your position and act like an adult. You do love this child. Understand they didn't sign up for ADHD, and they do not make a conscious decision every morning when they wake up to be difficult. You must operate on what we know to be true, and that is that all kids want to be good. They want to be loved. They want to be successful, and they need to feel like they belong. Imperturbability is the common thread in all good parenting. It means you love your child deeply, unconditionally, but you do not incite and you do not excite. That means you don't escalate when they escalate, and you're not going to fall apart when they become emotionally deregulated. Instead, you are their constant anchor. So be steady, unwavering, and always be imperturbable. The second do is give your teenager a lot of positive reinforcement. Whenever you catch them being good, go ahead and gush on them. Make sure it's really authentic, because teenagers can sniff out if you're being disingenuous. And don't ever praise them when it might make them feel embarrassed, like in front of other friends or in front of siblings. No matter how small the gesture or how grand their accomplishment, don't hold back. Acknowledge them with love and praise. Now, it doesn't have to be lavish or loud. In fact, the parents who do this really well, they are targeted and discreet in their positive reinforcement. And they also deliver it as close to the moment the deserving behavior is observed. Remember, now we know the much more effective way to praise a child is to praise their action over labels. So saying, wow, you never lost your composure during that soccer game is a very good example of praising their actions and effort. You wouldn't want to say, wow, you were definitely the MVP of that soccer game. Because giving superlative labels, that only makes them feel like they're going to shy away from future challenges for risk of jeopardizing that label or title. So if you concentrate your positive accolades on their actions, intentions, and their effort, your praise is going to go a very long way. Next, I have a little psychology that I think is fun. It's going to help explain why it's so darn hard to parent oppositional defiance. There's a term in psychology commonly used when talking about relationships and the dynamics that are at play in conversation. It's called social reciprocity, and our brains are hardwired for it. Social reciprocity is the mutual exchange of actions and what we consider appropriate responses to other people's social signals. For example, if one person smiles, we expect that the other person's going to smile back. The cashier at the store says, thanks, have a nice day. Then we expect the customer would say, thanks, you too. Our brains are just hardwired to expect like a balanced give and take, a back and forth when interacting with other human beings, and that includes when interacting with our kids. So when oppositional defiance is at play, the adult brain gets kind of confused because it doesn't get the social reciprocity that it anticipates. We expect to hear, yes, ma'am, or okay, mom, or maybe on a really good day, bye, mom, I'll have my chores done when you get home. But when there's OD in ADHD, more typically you're going to hear, what do you mean? Or, well, that's not what you said. Or, whatever, mom. And beware, because of social reciprocity, it's only natural to instinctively feel like you should pull back your affections when you get rejected or deflected or denied. But don't you stop. Mom and Dad, they will come around as long as you continue to do the do's, stay away from the don'ts, and don't give up. So I'm going to wrap it up with some good news. The good news is that if coaches and parents and doctors treat the teenager's primary condition of ADHD well, then its tag-along disorders can be kept at bay. That's your first line of defense. Treat the ADHD. Good doctors, good medicine, good coaching, good parenting. And for those moments when OD rears its ugly head, parents, remember, don't isolate yourself. Connect with others who understand, who are compassionate, and who can help you and your teenager. Seek out guidance from certified ADHD coaches and doctors' referrals. Also, don't be inconsistent in parenting. Maintain those routines. Please be clear about expectations as well as consequences, and communicate with them often, even if it's not reciprocated. Do stay calm and strong and be your teen's anchor. The better you understand their ADHD and its many disorders, the better you're going to be able to understand your teenager's plight and exactly how to help. And lastly, bring on the positive reinforcement. Focus it on their actions, efforts, and their intentions. Authentic and timely praise from a loving parent is like salve on the many wounds created by the bombardment of negative feedback they get all day. Parents, understand that oppositional and defiance are not what your teen has become. Rather, they are just what your teenager is moving through right now. Now you have new skills so that you can help them move through that OD faster. Teens with ADHD resort to oppositional defiance as a defense mechanism, and it's because they don't have other more adaptive, positive skills for dealing with these nuanced and many difficulties they face. OD should not be seen as a moral failing of your child, and certainly not a failure on the part of the parent, but rather it should be seen as one of the many symptoms of an underlying condition, ADHD, that deserves understanding and support. Parenting a teen with ADHD is no small feat, but together we'll build you this toolkit for greater success. Every day brings a new chance to excel, and grow more confident in this journey. I'm Annie Adjin, and I'm wishing you all A's in every endeavor as you navigate this challenge and this very rewarding path. Stay in touch, stay inspired, and I'll see you next time.